Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy holidays. I am so very glad to see every last one of you guys here. I would like to ask if you would please put your hand over your heart or stand if you can for the playing of the national anthem. Thank you, folks. Now please remain as you are for the playing of the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now let's get this party started.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever is queen, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner, is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in a wonderland.
Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense
Coming to
content
you
is intended
from a
for
secret
mature
cave,
audiences only.
hidden deep within
Enjoy.
the wilderness. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live from a secret cave hidden deep within the wilderness of Tennessee. That's right. We're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, we're tearing through the atmosphere, and we're tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle of Christmas magic. This is the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Thursday, December the 23rd, 2021. Merry Christmas Eve. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Tonight we are going to be going over some classic Christmas stories, the ones we all grew up with, the children's Christmas stories, because that's what Christmas is really about, right? It's not about gifts, it's not about all the crazy commercialism. When it comes down to it, it's always about the children and seeing those beautiful smiles on their faces every Christmas morning. And we're going to be doing this special children's episode, so gather the kids around, grab some nice hot cocoa, and get ready for some classic Christmas stories. That's tonight, December 23rd, 2021, on the Dark Wolf's Den radio show. But first, let's go ahead and see how many children we have over here in our YouTube chat rooms, both on the Dark Wolf's Den show as well as the Ripon Rabbit Hole YouTube channel. How are you guys doing over here in chat tonight? It's great to see every last one of you. Like JoJo's waving in over in the Dark Wolf's Den show chat room. Good to see you, JoJo's. As well as Michael Fontaine says, hello, everyone. Hello, Michael. Good to see you, my friend. JoJo's with the hearts. My life says, Merry almost Christmas. Merry almost Christmas, my life. Then over here in the Ripon Rabbit Hole YouTube channel, got a lot of chatters over here, at least a lot of chatting. Sandy B says, hey Terry, Merry Christmas to you. I will send you a message through the Ripon website directly to you on the ham dip recipe. Well, maybe you should go ahead and post the ham dip recipe for everyone over there. I sure wouldn't mind knowing it. JoJo's again waving in the Ripon Rabbit Hole channel. Biz Woofer says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Biz Woofer. Errol Taylor also says, Merry Christmas, Errol. Glad to have both of you guys here. Terry Taggart checking in. Glad to see you, Terry. Raider Champion says, Happy Christmas Eve, or Festivus. Happy Christmas Eve, or Merry Christmas Eve, I should say. Alva Yarder says, Hiya, Alva. Glad to have you here. Maggie's Ace is saying hello. Good to see you, Maggie's. From John Wayne to Wonderland of Confusion, emotional roller coaster. Yeah, a little bit of everything for everybody, right? I do hate to hear about the tragic incident today in Chicago. Our hearts and prayers go out to all those involved. Juanito 1975, great to see you, my friend. Sorry you're feeling under the weather, but at least you're able to listen. Rick Swain says, what's up, y'all? What's up, Rick? Glad to see you, my friend. Catherine M says, hi, y'all. Hi, Catherine. So very glad to see every last one of you guys here. And whether you are visiting us over on YouTube in the chat rooms or listening on Ripon Common Sense Radio on the RiponRabbitHole.com or from our flagship station in Ripon, Wisconsin, we're glad to have every last one of you guys along for the ride. That's right. And like I said a moment ago, we're going to dig into these holiday Christmas stories here in just a moment. But before we do, we have two more fun little segments to do. The first of which we call Today in History. On this day in 1968, Mr. Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and William Anders become the very first men to orbit the moon. And they definitely would not be the last, but they were the first. And that happened on this day in 1968. And that is today's segment of Today in History.
Say what?
Our quote of the day today, ladies and gentlemen, comes from another Christmas classic, The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This, of course, is towards the end of the book and is spoken by Scrooge. He says, and I quote, "I will honor Christmas in my heart and keep it all the year long." And that's something I think some of us strive to do, though it becomes harder and harder in today's world, right? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that was Charles Dickens, and that is today's segment of
Say what?
All right, folks, you guys ready to have some holiday fun? I know I am. And we're going to kick it off tonight with a classic tale from our childhood. I'm sure most of you remember the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Hello, boys and girls. My name is Sam the Snowman. I'm going to tell you how Christmas was almost canceled one year, and how a little reindeer with a shiny red nose saved the day. It all began in Christmastown at the North Pole. That's where Santa Claus lives with his wife, Mrs. Claus. Their home is a castle in the middle of a snow-covered forest of glittering Christmas trees. Every Christmas, Santa delivers toys to good little girls and boys. And every Christmas, little reindeer dream of becoming part of Santa's team when they grow up. Donner, one of Santa's reindeer, hoped his newborn son, Rudolph, would follow in his footsteps. But when Rudolph's nose began to glow, Donner cried, "He has a shiny nose! I'd even say it glows!" Just then, Santa arrived to meet the new reindeer. When he saw Rudolph's bright red nose glowing, he said, "Let's hope it stops if he wants to make the sleigh team someday." And off he went. "We'll just have to hide Rudolph's shiny nose so that he looks like all the other little deer," said Donner as he covered Rudolph's nose with mud. Rudolph was very unhappy, but he kept his nose hidden as well as he could. Later, at the reindeer games, Rudolph met a pretty doe named Clarice. She was there to watch the young reindeer practice their flying. Rudolph was shy, but he asked if he could walk her home after the games. Clarice agreed and said, "I think you're cute." That made Rudolph so happy that he flew high in the sky on his very first try. Santa and Comet, the flying coach, were amazed. But suddenly, Rudolph's false nose fell off and his real nose glowed brightly. All the other reindeer laughed and called him names, like Fire Snout and Red Schnoz, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. "From now on," said Comet, "we won't let Rudolph join in any reindeer games." Rudolph was very sad, and he wondered why being a little bit different made him such a misfit. So he decided to run away. Meanwhile, in Santa's castle, a team of elves made toys in a workshop. But one of the elves didn't like making toys, a blonde elf named Hermie. "Whatever is wrong with you, Hermie?" asked the boss elf. "I don't like making toys," answered Hermie. "I want to be a dentist." "A dentist?" barked the boss elf. "That's ridiculous. Elves make toys." Hermie was not about to give up his dream of becoming a dentist, so he decided to run away too. Soon the two misfits met and became good friends. "Since we're both tired of being laughed at and called names, let's leave the North Pole and find out what the rest of the world is like," said Rudolph. So off they went, looking forward to new adventures, but knowing they had to beware of the abominable snow monster of the north. The monster was mean and nasty and hated everything about Christmas. "Cover your nose," Hermie said to Rudolph when they heard the abominable snow monster's horrible roar.
And I think we could all relate to kind of feeling left out and a little different just because of what we know primarily, right? But this is such a classic story that we can all relate to, right?
Before long, they ran into a prospector named Yukon Cornelius. "This land is rich in silver and gold," he said. Yukon was an unusual character, but he had a good heart and offered to give Rudolph and Hermie a ride on his sled. Suddenly, the abominable snow monster spotted the friends and started to chase them. "We're trapped!" cried Rudolph. "My nose is giving us away!" Luckily, Yukon knew the terrible creature's weakness. "The abominable snow monster sinks in water," Yukon said as he quickly chipped away at the ice. The three friends escaped on a sheet of floating ice and soon found themselves on the island of Misfit Toys. King Moonracer, the flying lion who ruled the island, explained that every year he flew around the world to rescue misfit toys that nobody wanted. Each toy was free to live on the island of Misfit Toys until some child decided to adopt it, because no toy could be truly happy until a boy or girl loved it. Rudolph.
You know, maybe that's where they get the background story for Toy Story, right? About how toys are come alive with a child's love. I don't know, little side note there.
Rudolph, Hermie, and Yukon met a Charlie in the box, a train whose caboose had square wheels, a polka dot elephant, a cowboy who rode an ostrich, and a squirt gun that shot jelly. And there were many other misfit toys. Please ask
Wait, I want a squirt gun that shoots jelly.
Santa to include these wonderful toys with all the others he delivers on Christmas Eve, the king said to Rudolph. "I promise I will," answered Rudolph. That night, while his friends were sleeping, Rudolph decided to go on alone. He knew that the abominable snow monster might find them all because of his bright red nose, and he didn't want to put his friends in danger. During his journey, Rudolph began to realize he couldn't run away from his troubles, so he decided to go home. In Christmas Town, Rudolph discovered that his parents and Clarice had left to look for him and never returned. The little reindeer knew just where to find them, in the abominable snow monster's cave. "Put her down!" cried Rudolph as he tried to rescue Clarice, but then he was captured too. In the nick of time, Yukon and Hermie arrived with a plan. They knew that abominable snow monsters love pork dinners. So while Hermie pretended to be a pig and oinked loudly, Yukon climbed above the entrance to the cave. When the monster came out, Yukon dropped a big chunk of ice on his head. That knocked out the abominable snow monster, and Hermie finished the job by pulling out all of the creature's terrible teeth.
Okay, I want to stop right here. We covered this in the I Met Christmas special, and I gotta say, I don't remember him pulling all the teeth out. I only remember him pulling out the one that hurt him. How about you guys?
Rudolph and his friends returned to Christmas Town. Everyone realized that they had been a little hard on the two misfits and welcomed them back. At first, everyone was afraid of the abominable snow monster, but Yukon assured them that he was now as tame as a kitten and that his real name was Bumble. Everyone was relieved and gave Bumble the job of placing the stars on top of all the tall Christmas trees. Rudolph described his adventures and told Santa about the island of misfit toys. Santa promised he would deliver all the misfit toys to deserving girls and boys.
Over here in the chat, we got a couple people that agreed. Sandy B says, "Me too, just the one tooth." Catherine N, same, just the one that hurt him. Mandani Mall says, "Yep, one tooth." Terry Taggart, one tooth. Over in the Dark Wolves Den Show chat, My Life DIY also with one tooth. Glad to see you here. Euler Greg, also glad to have you here, as well as Mandani Mall.
But there was terrible news. A great blizzard was raging all over the world. "I'm afraid," said Santa to Mrs. Claus, "that we'll just have to cancel Christmas this year." "Oh no," said Mrs. Claus. "Think of all those disappointed little girls and boys with no presents on Christmas morning." On Christmas Eve, the weather was no better, and there was no relief in sight. Suddenly, Rudolph's nose started to glow. Santa shielded his eyes and smiled. "That nose of yours," Santa said to Rudolph. "That beautiful, wonderful nose." "Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight?" asked Santa. "I'd be proud to, Santa," answered Rudolph, and everyone cheered. Even though the blizzard continued to howl, the elves got Santa's sleigh ready for takeoff. Santa put on his red suit, and Rudolph and the other reindeer were harnessed with care, and Santa's sleigh was filled to the very top with toys. "First stop is the island of misfit toys," Santa said. "Ready, Rudolph?" "Ready, Santa," Rudolph said, and his nose glowed as bright as a beacon in the night. "Up, up and away," called Santa, and off they flew into the dark sky to deliver toys to girls and boys, with Rudolph's shining nose guiding the way. And Rudolph went down in history as the most famous reindeer of all.
And of course, to this day, is still the most famous reindeer of all. That's right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It just goes to show that being a little different can definitely be a good thing. When I was younger, they used to play back-to-back Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman on television. And in true holiday tradition, we're going to do that here. We just heard Rudolph. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the reading of Frosty the Snowman.
Frosty the Snowman. The first snow of the year came on the day before Christmas. It was magical. The children at school couldn't wait to go outside to play. But first they had to watch a magician named Professor Hinkle perform. "Messy, messy, messy," the professor grumbled as his magic tricks failed again and again. He threw his magic hat in the garbage, but his rabbit, Hocus Pocus, took it out and hopped off with it. The bell rang, and the school day was over. The children raced outside. A little girl named Karen helped her friends make a snowman. The children gave the snowman a corncob pipe, a button nose, and 2 eyes made of coal. Now all the snowman needed was a name. "How about Frosty?" Karen suggested. It was the perfect name. The children laughed and danced and sang around their new friend, Frosty the Snowman. Meanwhile, Professor Hinkle was chasing Hocus Pocus, who still had his magic hat. The professor reached for the hat, but suddenly a gust of wind blew the hat on top of Frosty's head. "Happy birthday," Frosty said, opening his eyes and smiling. The children were delighted. Their snowman had come to life. "It must be the hat," Karen said. "It must be magic."
Christmas magic.
Professor Hinkle was amazed. Now he really wanted his hat back. "But it made Frosty come to life," Karen said. As the professor snatched the hat off Frosty's head, he told the children they were imagining things. Luckily, Hocus Pocus was able to switch the hat with a wreath. The little rabbit quickly hopped to the children. "The hat is back," exclaimed Karen. "Let's see if Frosty will come to life again." She placed the hat on Frosty's head. "Happy birthday," Frosty said again. Soon it got warmer outside. Frosty started to melt. Karen knew they had to get Frosty somewhere cold. The children all agreed that Frosty should take the next train to the North Pole. Frosty was very happy. "Let's have a parade," he said. At the ticket office, they realized they didn't have enough money for the train ride. Hocus Pocus got an idea. There was a refrigerated boxcar carrying ice cream and cakes to the North Pole. Frosty could ride in there. He got on board. Karen and Hocus Pocus decided to travel with him. Professor Hinkle saw the three friends and hid underneath the train. He wanted that hat back. The boxcar was perfect for Frosty, but it was much too cold for Karen. Frosty knew he had to get Karen warm as quickly as possible, so they got off at the next stop. Professor Hinkle didn't see them leave the train.
Okay, here's another Mandela moment that I remember. So, how many of you guys remember the little girl having a scarf, or somebody giving Frosty a scarf, and then on the train he wraps it around Karen to get her warm, right? I remember that scene just as clear as day. However, the scarf no longer exists in the entire story of Frosty anymore, not even in the cartoons.
"We've got to get Karen warmed up or she'll freeze," Frosty said to Hocus Pocus. They came upon a small clearing where the forest animals were getting ready for Santa. Hocus told the animals about Karen, and the animals made a fire for her. Suddenly,
So in this version, and this reality, I guess you'd say, for lack of better terms, they made a fire to warm her up. There is no scarf whatsoever, not even mentioned in the book, let alone the movie. Trust me, I went through every single scene in the movie last year. It's not there. As you're going to notice, all of our stories tonight have at least some type of little Mandela twist.
Professor Hinkle appeared. "Give me back my hat," he exclaimed. "Get on my shoulders," Frosty said to Karen. Frosty was the fastest belly whopper in the world. Karen hopped on, and they quickly slid down the hill past Professor Hinkle. At the bottom of the hill, Frosty took Karen into a greenhouse full of Christmas flowers to keep warm. But the mean professor had other plans. He slammed the door shut, trapping Frosty and Karen inside. "The minute you're melted, the hat will be mine," Professor Hinkle yelled.
Welcome, Mandy Lynn. Glad to have you here. It's a name I don't see every week. Very glad to have you here, Mandy.
At that very moment, Santa was in the woods talking to Hocus Pocus. The little rabbit told Santa that Karen needed to go home and Frosty needed to go to the North Pole. He quickly led Santa down to the greenhouse. But it was too late. When they opened the door, they saw a terrible sight. Karen was crying next to a large puddle. Frosty had melted.
And I do agree with those a minute ago in chat. I think Sandy B was one of them, said I cried every time Frosty melted. That is one of the worst parts of the movie, right? Where Frosty melts away.
"Christmas snow can never disappear completely," Santa told Karen gently. He opened the door, and a gust of magical winter wind blew in and turned the puddle back into Frosty. Professor Hinkle tried to take the magic hat back, but Santa told him that if he did, he would never get any more Christmas presents. Professor Hinkle didn't want that, so he gave Santa the hat. Santa placed the magical hat on Frosty. "Happy birthday," Frosty said once again. Karen was so happy that Frosty was alive. Santa let Frosty and Karen ride on his sleigh. He was going to take Karen home. Frosty would go with Santa to the North Pole, where it was always cold. Karen was sad to say goodbye to Frosty, but he promised to come back. Every Christmas, Frosty visited the children, and they had a big parade to celebrate. Happy holidays!
Or in the words of Frosty, happy birthday! I'm surprised that actually wasn't in there, but those were the first words Frosty said when he got the hat on, right? And of course, yet another one of my all-time favorite traditional Christmas stories, Frosty the Snowman. And like I said a moment ago, or before the reading of Frosty, that is one thing I do remember from my holiday childhood is on TV they would play those two back to back. I don't know if they still do as well. I don't own a TV, but I would sure hope so, right? Are you guys enjoying the episode so far? Reading out these classic Christmas tales that maybe you haven't heard since you were a child, at least in book form, right? And how's the hot cocoa? Do you guys have enough hot cocoa in your cup? If not, then here in just a moment, we're going to take a network break and you'll be able to go ahead and get a quick refill, right? Quick programming note. I had said last night that we were going to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" at the end of the episode. Unfortunately, because Jerry can't read a calendar, he thought the end of the episode tonight was going to be on Christmas Eve. So, unfortunately, it is not Christmas Eve. So I am going to leave that up completely to AJ's discretion. If AJ the Ripon Rabbit would like to read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" tomorrow night while watching the Santa Tracker, that is entirely up to him, but we are not going to be doing it at the end of this show anymore. So just so you guys are aware, if you were tuning in to look forward to that one, I do apologize. Once again, apparently Jerry doesn't know how to read a calendar. But ladies and gentlemen, I do hope that all of your holiday celebrations are happy and safe and fun. I know it can be quite challenging at times this time of year around certain people. But this is the time of year when we're supposed to show the most love of all. And I do hope that every last one of you are both showing love as well as being shown the true loving magic of the Christmas holiday season. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to go ahead and take a network break right here. So my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you're listening to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. We will be right back with the second half after these messages. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. Hi, it's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's Dark Wolf's Den radio show, Christmas Eve special? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video. Hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, bringing you the very best of common sense radio, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. I'll return again tomorrow night, the real Christmas Eve, Friday, December 24th. Come along with me as we journey through the clouds and track Santa. That's right, a fun evening spent tracking Santa Claus as he makes his way around the world and brings us into Saturday for Christmas. That's right, Saturday, December 25th, a special holiday Christmas performance starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then we'll end out the weekend right together, fittingly Sunday, December 26th, with a look at leftovers and returns. We're going to find out what did you get for Christmas that you don't want, and how are you going to return it. That's Sunday night, December 26th. After all of the holiday madness is over, we'll end out the weekend right together with you. My, oh my, how time does fly. Kidding aside, it will be 2022 before you know it. If you haven't done so already, please, before the end of the year, hop on over to our website, riponrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There you can sign up for your exclusive Backstage Pass. It's going to give you unfiltered access down the rabbit hole to where the conversation continues after the show. Some exciting new community changes planned in the 2022 season. Some new features that we held off on. We were going to release them back a couple months ago in September. We decided we'll just wait until everything is perfect, and I think we're getting real close to that perfection. So, if you haven't done so already, please sign up for your Backstage VIP Pass. It's absolutely free to do so. It always will be. We do not sell, share, or give away your email addresses, so you can feel real comfortable about joining a Ripon community-generated press where the conversation continues down the rabbit hole. That's also where you'll find the Backstage VIP Lounge, where the first Tuesday of every month is Tuesday night videos. We'll have more about that coming up this weekend. We'll return back to the Christmas Eve special for Thursday, December 23rd with Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den radio show. You're listening to the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole.
Check out the new book, Moon Madness, by first-time author J.W. Hicks. Originally conceived in 2015, this fictional novel only becomes more and more relevant by the day. What would you do if you found out that almost everything your government has told you was a lie? In the year 2103, Jeremy Carlson and his fiancée Brittany Parsons decide to take a vacation in a lunar cabin. Everything was going great until strange things started happening after they went to sleep. Are they being abducted, or are they catching moon madness, a strange phenomena thought to be caused by the lower gravity of the moon? After a fateful meeting with a guy named Zach Marshall, things become a whole lot more clear. They are now determined to expose the governing body of the Earth and Moon, known as the World Council. Will the three of them succeed, or will things go horribly wrong? Find out in the great novel, once again, by first-time author J.W. Hicks, called Moon Madness. Available now on Amazon, $12 for paperback, $7 for Kindle. Not adding this to your bookshelf would be madness.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Dark Wolf's Den show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and welcome back to the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show for Thursday, December the 23rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going over classic holiday Christmas stories read aloud by a couple different people. As I've been reading a lot of stories over the last couple weeks, I figured I'd let some other people have a turn, right? Real quick, before we do get into our next story, I would like to give a quick shout out to my friend Hope Leahy, one of my co-workers in my other job. I told her that I would shout her out tonight, and she promised to be listening. So I wish you a very Merry Christmas to you and yours, Hope Leahy, and of course everyone within the sound of my voice. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our next Christmas story. Our next Christmas story, folks, is one that you may recognize. It's now called How the Grinch Stole Christmas, though a lot of us remember it being called The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, right? Either way, ladies and gentlemen, here is How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss.
Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos. Staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings,
he snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow, he knew. All the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise! That's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast. And they'd feast, and they'd feast. And they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said.
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Get up!" And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in that town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming, sweet dreams without care, when he came to the first little house on the square.
This is stop number 1.
The old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings,
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present: pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch, very nimbly, stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
Grinned the Grinch.
I will stuff up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree, and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast, and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter, who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tot,
The fake Santa Claus lied.
there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was dark. All the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. "3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh, pooh to the Who's," he was grinchiously humming. "They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound, rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas,
he thought,
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
That is, once again, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, or How the Grinch Stole Christmas, whichever way you remember it, as that is a Mandela-affected title. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, sincerely, from all of us here at the Dark Wolf's Den Show, we wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. We'll see you guys next time. You guys think we should make this a yearly tradition? I do. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the Dark Wolf's Den Radio Show for Thursday, December the 23rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of a reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing on this holiday weekend, but don't you worry, the holiday fun has only just begun. That's right, make sure you tune in to the Ripon Rabbit Hole YouTube channel tomorrow, Friday, December 24th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. And join our buddy AJ the Ripon Rabbit for another episode of the Ripon Rabbit Hole live show, where he's going to be live Santa tracking. That's right, the big jolly man himself goes tomorrow night for his big flight around the world to give all the children Christmas gifts. And AJ will be tracking him in real time. That's tomorrow, Friday, December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2021. Then on Saturday, December 25th, 2021, also at 7 p.m. Pacific and 10/9 Central, our buddy AJ the Ripon Rabbit comes back for another episode of that Ripon Rabbit Hole live show that we all love so much, a Christmas special, that's right, all about relaxation. After the end of the day and all the gifts are open and the wrapping paper's thrown away and all the food is in the bellies, what better time than to relax? That's right, and AJ's going to be discussing relaxation on Saturday, December the 25th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All shows here on the network, of course, start at 7 p.m. Pacific and 10/9 Central. Like the show on Sunday, AJ the Ripon Rabbit comes back to round the holiday weekend out right with one final episode of the Ripon Rabbit Hole live show on Sunday, December 26th, 2021. Apparently my tongue is done today. 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. He's going to be talking about leftovers. We all have a pile of leftovers after the holiday season, and you know, some houses, they get eaten quite quickly. That's this house. Other houses, not so much. And what are you going to do with all those leftovers? Well, AJ is going to go over a variety of new, fun, and inventively creative ways to use those leftovers, and I am definitely looking forward to the rest of this amazing holiday weekend here on the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network. And speaking of the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, make sure you hop on over to the Ripon Rabbit Hole. That is RIPON, That's right. Over there, you're going to find a plethora of fun. First, you're going to sign up for your Backstage Pass. That is absolutely free and always will be. And once you are signed up for that, not only will you receive our weekly email with all our shows in it, but you will also be able to access all the rest of the fun on the site, like the on-demand section. If you've missed any show that we've done throughout the entire year or since we've been on the radio, make sure you go back and check out the on-demand section. That's right, that's a really good place. So you can go back and listen to last year's Christmas episode and then this year's episodes, right? Lots and lots of fun over there. Also, check out the groups section. There's groups for everyone from Lucid Dreamers to the Mandela Effect to the DWD Show and the Ripon Rabbit Hole, and groups for everything. And if you don't find a group you're interested in, you know what? You can go ahead and create your own group also. This is a community-generated press. That means we rely on you guys, the community, to generate the actual news over there. Unlike the big boys, We don't follow Reuters and all those other big news sites. We are the news, ladies and gentlemen. The community is the news, and we want to put up what you want to see. Also, while you're over there, speaking of news, on the front page, you can always find the latest breaking news, both around the world, in Ripon, Wisconsin, or in your area as it pertains to you. That's right, folks. It's lots of fun over there. Also, check out the Down the Rabbit Hole section. That is our exclusive, privatized social media section, ladies and gentlemen. And we've got a whole lot more fun coming to the site in 2022. So much stuff I can't even begin to tell you guys about. It is going to be amazing. Almost as amazing as the 24/7 Backstage Lounge, my favorite place to hang out, and where I'm going to be here in just a couple minutes right after the show. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you've been listening to the Dark Wolf's Den radio show exclusively on Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, the Ripon Rabbit Hole. On behalf of AJ the Ripon Rabbit, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Walt House, Tom Bayless, and everybody involved in Ripon Common Sense Radio Network, we wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until next time, folks, stay awake, but dare to dream. Merry Christmas, everybody. Good night.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever Oh, what a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Ho, 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 ho. Check out the new book, Moon Madness, by first-time author J.W. Hicks. Originally conceived in 2015, this fictional novel only becomes more and more relevant by the day. What would you do if you found out that almost everything your government has told you was a lie? In the year 2103, Jeremy Carlson and his fiancée Brittany Parsons decide to take a vacation in a lunar cabin. Everything was going great until strange things started happening after they went to sleep. Are they being abducted, or are they catching moon madness, a strange phenomena thought to be caused by the lower gravity of the moon? After a fateful meeting with a guy named Zach Marshall, things become a whole lot more clear. They are now determined to expose the governing body of the Earth and Moon, known as the World Council. Will the three of them succeed, or will things go horribly wrong? Find out in the great novel, once again, by first-time author J.W. Hicks, called Moon Madness. Available now on Amazon, $12 for paperback, $7 for Kindle. Not adding this to your bookshelf would be madness. And I'm told that it fits under the tree really well and makes an amazing gift, ladies and gentlemen. Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys next time. Bye now.